Verbal riot.
Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the show, man. It feels like it's been a while since I've done this live, but I feel a little rusty. But you know what? Happy to be here, even though I'm coming off a little bit of a cold from Comic-Con, which I will be talking about in a few minutes. It goes without fail. It goes without fail. I always get sick at Comic-Con, or after Comic-Con, I should say. I guess when you have thousands of people grouped up in one little area, you're bound to catch each other's stuff. And like I said, without fail, I get sick every single time. But you know what, though? I'm excited, which kind of evens out the illness. And I have a lot to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about, though, man, is we reached a milestone here at Verbal Riot. My show has been finally officially monetized. Yeah, after doing battle with you two for like the past feels like 3 months, they finally decided to go ahead and monetize my channel, which I'm very happy and grateful about. And I definitely want to thank all of you guys who, man, have been with me from the beginning, man, who've been riding with me since before I had my channel. Some of you guys were fans of when I was just a regular guest on Film Threat, and you followed me from there to here, and I am so grateful for all you guys' support. And yeah, man, it's been an interesting journey, this whole YouTube thing, right? And the whole thing about the monetization thing, guys, and I want to be really clear about this, is it's not so much about me being monetized. It's the fact that I was getting denied because for reasons, right? I'm not going to say specifically what, because they never gave me specifics, but I just felt like, hey, you know what? I met all of your qualifications and then some, right? I'm doing things just like every other channel. So why am I getting denied, right? So it was more of just a personal thing of, hey, if I'm playing the same game as everybody else, why am I kind of getting singled out here? And after tons of advice from other YouTubers that I know, and you guys know, I know a lot of them. um, Tons of advice, tons of other YouTube videos, just watching on how to get around this. Finally, man, I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to make a video. I'm going to state, I'm going to plead my case. I want them to see my face, right? I don't want to just write something so they can ignore it. I want them to see my face, and we'll see how it goes, right? And to be honest with you, I didn't think they were going to give in and monetize me, but apparently somebody, I guess the right person, watched it and said, yeah, man, go ahead, we're gonna do this. So anyway, guys, again, thank you so much, man. It's been a long journey. It's going to continue to be it's going to be a longer journey, because I'm always going to have something to say, which means I'm always going to have a show. And yeah, and we have a lot to talk about today, because and before I get into Comic-Con, I do want to say that, I am going to have probably next week a sort of a bigger celebration of this, meaning I'm going to have other guests on, other YouTubers. I would have did it this week, but I got the information so kind of late, because I already had this show planned on Monday. Like, I already had this specific show planned, so I didn't have time to really organize anything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna organize some things for next week. I'm gonna have tons of guests on. It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be fun. So anyway, but before I do that, let's get into the comments, because some of you guys, I already see the comments kind of blowing up. So we'll get into Comic-Con in a minute. Let's see. First up, we have Emily, who has been a longtime fan. Congrats, Dante. Thanks, Emily. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I appreciate all you guys who have been with me from the beginning. So um, let's get into another. All right, this is uh Skizspivik Esquire. Thanks, and hell Verbal Riot. Thank you, and hell yourself. Thank you so much, man. Let's get into another. Jeff Bizcamp says, LFG, let's effing go. You guys are great, man. Oh, look at this. I got my first official super chat. Oh, this is wild, man. 20,000 I'm not Deutschmarks maybe. But anyway, this is from Believe in Yourself. I came from Film Threat to drop some dong. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. You know what? I'm actually touched because that's my first super chat. So I'm about to screenshot this, man. There, I just screenshotted that. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Let's get to some more. Believe in Yourself says, "Thank you. I just had enough room to drop one more." Wow, you guys are wild, man. Thank you so much. And oh, another super chat. Okay, as soon as I can pull it up. This is from Skiz Spivak Esquire for $13. Congrats, Verbal Riot. All the best. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Let me get through a few more of these. Oh, look at this. Look at this. That Chris Gore from Film Threat, man, for 19.99. Please review Am I Racist trailer. um, I'm gonna try to get to it today. This is a Comic Con show, so maybe I'll do it next week. But maybe I'll do it when you're on the show, Chris, because you'll be there next week. So, but thank you so much for the super chat. All right, let's look. Get a few more here. Um, Jeff B. Discamp. Chris Gore, what's up? Yeah, man. Chris is on his way to watch a marathon of movies right now. I don't envy him. And oh, another super chat. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Convention crud will not keep Dante from celebrating monetization. Congrats. Yeah, man. Con crud is a very real thing, and what I should have did was bring just a bunch of Perel with me, a bunch of wet naps, and because I shook a lot of hands, and unfortunately, when you shake a lot of hands, uh, you're probably bound to catch something. So, and I think I did. Oh, got another one from Chris Gore for 49.99. Congrats. Thank you, mate. And we need to hang out soon, even though we hung out a lot this past weekend. All right. So I'm gonna get to now. Now I will finally get to the business at hand. So Comic-Con was wild, man. And when I say that, I mean, you know, I've been going to Comic-Con since Jesus, 2004. Yeah, 2004 was my first official San Diego Comic-Con, and this is back in the day when you can buy badges at the door, right? I did, and you could get a hotel room for like $100. Like those days are far gone, but I remember those days, man. I remember leaving on a Friday, right? No pre-buy, right? Going on a Friday to San Diego. I go to the convention center, buy my badge at the door, and I was set for the weekend. Now, obviously, a lot has happened in between that time, right? The blockbuster, the I don't want to call it fake, but the rise of geek culture all of a sudden amongst people who never read comics or cared about sci-fi or cared about fantasy, right? So basically, once Hollywood got involved, you can no longer buy a badge at the door. You can no longer get a cheap hotel room, and so this year, Comic Con for me felt it was a weird vibe. If I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man. Last year was weird because we had the strike going on, right? There was the Hollywood strike, and there were no celebrities there. There was really no Hollywood presence at Comic Con last year. This year, they were all there. They were all there, and but for some reason, last year felt more fun than this year. And I'm not saying I didn't have a good time. I had a great time this past weekend, but something felt a little off. And I was talking to a bunch of people about that. And they felt the same way. They felt the same way. It was a weird vibe, but we were still having a good time, but it and I was trying to pinpoint what it is, right? And I think it's because before it was so easy for us to get into like different parties and different events outside of Comic-Con. Where this year it seemed like everything was so like, if your name's not on the list, you're not getting in, right? And it kind of took the vibe away a little bit because guys, when you go to Comic-Con, for those of you who've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, it's an event. It's not just the event itself. It's what goes on outside of Comic-Con, like within the Gaslamp district and different bars, different clubs, different hotels. They always have these different parties that are going on. There's a lot of things happening besides the actual convention, which again makes it even more fun normally. This year though, it just felt really off. And you know i I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I think a part of it though, actually I do know what part of it is. Uh, a big part of it is everything honestly now is just way too expensive, right? Like it's not just the hotel rooms, which are you're going to get gouged for, right? Like I said, the days of paying $100 a night are over. But now the days of paying $200 a night are over. You're looking at least if you're staying for 3 days, you're looking at least probably $600 for 3 days at the very least, and that's if you're staying at like uh, you know, a roach infested like hellhole, right? That's for the cheapest of rooms, right? But it's not just the hotels. The restaurants in that area also are gouging people, man. And to be fair, food is expensive everywhere now, especially in California. We're out here paying $10 for a carton of eggs. Okay. So I get it. It's expensive everywhere. But again, we get gouged every time we go now to San Diego for Comic Con because most of these places, most of these restaurants, they have a separate Comic Con menu, which is messed up because that menu is marked high, right? Like it's like I can't give you an exact number, but the markup is real, and that's just for Comic Con because then they go back to their normal menus, right? After Comic Con, which again is messed up because what you're doing is you're gouging the people who come there. And I'm sure every other city does the same thing. I just feel like though it's getting harder and harder to enjoy Comic Con when you can't afford it, right? It's getting to the point now where you almost have to be rich to go to Comic Con, and that's not what it should be, right? Like Comic Con used to be for everybody. Comic Con used to be just for geeks, right? Just for geeks. And I'm not saying I need to gatekeep Comic Con, but what I'm saying is now because of how popular the MCU is and all these different movies and just the culture in general, it's no longer a place for the normal person or the normal family, right? Because there's a lot of times families go out to these things. I actually saw less kids at Comic-Con this year than I think I've ever have, right? Because it's too expensive to bring your whole family now. So I don't know. My just being there was cool. I know a lot of people, and we had a good time, and it was all right, but it wasn't like my best Comic Con experience by a long shot. And I think a lot of people, if you ask them who went, they'll probably say the same thing. But look, let's get to the news, right? The like what everyone's talking about. Now, I did a video yesterday on Robert Downey Jr. because, yeah, we all got the announcement that he's doomed. And so basically, I'm going to just start with the MCU and go from there. Um, I hated this news. I expressed that in my video yesterday. I think it's cheap. I think it's the wrong move. I think Doctor Doom deserves better than that as a character. I think Robert Downey Jr. deserves better than this as an actor. If I'm being honest. I I feel like it reeks of desperation. It's desperate. It's I get it. Jonathan Major screwed y'all up, right? And you had to pivot. But like I said yesterday in my video, you got the MCU has had problems way before Jonathan Major. way before. In fact, I would say Jonathan Majors is the least of their problems. But to pivot from Kang to Doom, okay, fine. I'm all for that. Let's do it. But give us Doctor Doom, right? Don't give us Iron Doom. Don't give us, Tony Von Doom. I want Victor Von Doom, played by a different actor. I mentioned Mads Mikkelsen yesterday, but someone reminded me that he was in Doctor Strange, which I completely forgot about. But I still stand that. Okay, fine. Cillian Murphy is a solid actor who could play Victor Von Doom. Why not just give us that? I don't get. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it, right? Robert Downey Jr. brings tails to seats, right? Cheeks to seats. He's a draw. We all love Tony Stark. The problem is that we watched that character end in a very satisfying way. And that character and the actor are so iconic that most people are not going to separate Iron Man from Doom, regardless to how well RDJ plays Doctor Doom. I just don't get the decision here. They brought the Russo brothers back. Okay, that's a good decision. That's a solid decision. Bring the Russos back because you know what? They know what they're doing at least. When it comes to the MCU, I've seen some of their other stuff is kind of hit or miss. But at least with the MCU, they know what they're doing. That was a good decision. And again, I don't care if this is an alternate Earth Tony, or Victor. See, even I'm blurring it now. I don't care if it's alternate Earth, Doctor Doom. I just this is a bad play. This is a bad play. And I say that mainly because we've waited almost 10 years to get Doctor Doom in the MCU. And this is how they cheap out on us, right? So yeah, wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan of that decision. Some people are. Some people are excited about it. And you know what? Cool. Cool. I'm not going to yuck your yum. If you're good with that, okay. I'm just done. I'm not going. I like I said on Film Thread Versus yesterday or Monday, and like I said in my video yesterday, um, I think Deadpool and Wolverine was a fluke. I I I can't give the MCU the benefit of the doubt anymore. I just can't. Not with decisions like this. So along with, and I don't want to harp on Doctor Doom because there's other announcements and things that happen, but I just want to say that Victor Von Doom is one of my favorite villains. So for me, and guys, honestly, at this point, I've gotten used to the fact that the MCU is going to completely bastardize every single great villain that I love. So I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt because that leads into my next topic, which is the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts were also announced, and there is leaked footage of what they showed in Hall H for the Thunderbolts. And I wish I could show you guys, but considering I literally just got monetized, I probably would stay away. I want to stay away from the copyright stuff right now. And something tells me that leaked footage will get me struck for sure. But I will say within the video, they show the Sentry, who's the villain. And if you guys know your comics, and if you know that character, the Sentry is basically Marvel's version of Superman, except he's psychotic in the way of not like an evil Superman. No, I mean he literally has like split personalities. Like he's legit crazy. And they showed the video, they showed a clip of that, and I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed. And you know what, guys? When it comes to so just to give you guys an insight into me, some of my favorite comics of all time are the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm talking like the original team with like Martin X and Charlie 27, Starhawk, Yondo. I'm talking like the original Vance Astro. I'm talking the original Guardians, right? And I love the new team as well with Star Lord and all those guys. But a lot of people don't know Star Lord came along way later into the Guardians, right? He's kind of like the newbie of the group. So same thing with Rocket and Groot and all of them. But uh I was a big fan of the Guardians. I was a big fan of the Suicide Squad. I was a big fan of the Thunderbolts, right? Like, I mean, day one, I was on those comics. And the problem I have with the Thunderbolts, at least this MCU version of it, is the same problem I have with the Suicide Squad, if I'm being honest with you. Because both teams, both books are about these team of very diverse supervillains, right? Meaning diverse as in their abilities and their powers and their personas, right? Like in the original Thunderbolts, they were actually a superhero team. Well, they were masquerading as a new superhero team, right? To rival the Avengers. And then it was revealed at the end of the comic that Baron Zemo put this team of villains together. So it went from that to becoming more of a Suicide Squad book where now the new team at the time with Crossbones, um, Bullseye, uh, I'm trying to remember who else was a part of that other team, but the Flaming Skull, I think, was part of it. Mockingbird. So, but these were all villains who all had different abilities, different powers, different, uh, like I said, personas. Right. Same thing with Suicide Squad. Right. It was a team of villains that all had different things that they brought to the table. What I hate about these current movies, right, is basically they're all just soldiers with guns. They're just soldiers with guns. If you look at the new Thunderbolts team, right, you have U.S. Agent, who again a character I loved from the comic. I remember buying that issue when they recruited him. Right, they have the bastardized version of the Taskmaster, one of my favorite villains of all time. In fact, Taskmaster in the comic trained Johnny Walker, who was U.S. Agent. So to not have the real Taskmaster on a team with John Walker is such a miss for me, man. Um, you have Florence Pugh's character, Black Widow. You have the Russian guy. I can't remember his name for some reason. Who's also like who's like John Walker. He's a super soldier. They're all super soldiers, basically. I think Bucky is in it. Eh, I just I don't like the decision to make the Thunderbolts a team of rehashed villains we've seen in other properties. Oh, and the craziest thing is no Baron Zemo. You have a Thunderbolts team with no Baron Zemo, which you already have him in the MCU. How stupid is that? This is why I can't give the MCU my benefit of the doubt. Okay, I just can't. So yeah, they got on stage, they talked about the Thunderbolts movie, they showed the clip. It doesn't look great, guys. It doesn't look horrible. It just doesn't look great. It looks like you will literally forget about this movie probably right after you watch it. I'm not even saying it's bad because I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I'm saying I was just really underwhelmed by what they showed and knowing of what I know of this team. So there you go. Another thing they got into was Captain America 4, another movie I'm not that excited about. Um, I never ever, and it's not just because of the movie. I just even in the comics, I never liked Sam Wilson as Cap. I've never liked it. I thought it was a dumb idea. Sam Wilson is the Falcon. He's his own character, right? We didn't need him to be sloppy seconds to Steve Rogers. We didn't need it. I think Bucky would have been a great new Cap and let the Falcon be the Falcon, but that's not the direction they went. And I, this is a movie, guys, that had 4 to 5 reshoots, and I can't tell you how much money this movie costs, and it still doesn't look great. It still doesn't look great. And then you have the whole look. We're talking comic book movies, guys. I understand that you have to like put certain things out of your head, right? Suspend disbelief, right? You have to uh, just accept that certain things are certain things, right? But I'm sorry, you're telling me that a man with no super soldier serum inside of his body, regardless to what kind of shield he's holding, is taking a direct punch from the Hulk. The Hulk. Savage Hulk at that. It's not even like the new Bruce Banner Hulk. It's from the Red Hulk. He's taking a direct punch, and somehow he's still intact, right? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. They have a super soldier in the movie, 2 of them, in fact. I think Bucky has a cameo, I think, but in a somewhat bigger role, they have Isaiah Washington. Remember from Falcon and Winter Soldier? He was the original Captain America, or one of them that they experimented on. But the guy still has the serum. He is a super soldier, and yet it's Sam that's taking the hit from the Hulk. I don't know. I don't know. Is it goofy? Yes, absolutely it is. So, not a lot of impressive news on that end, but I will say, you know, to give Marvel the credit, they're in the MCU the credit. They are doing something different with the Fantastic Four. And even though I keep my expectations pretty reasonable, and what I mean by that is low, from what I've seen of the new Fantastic Four, and by the way, guys, I wish I could show you more than just this title card, but I don't know what's postable right now and what isn't, because there are, if you go to X, Twitter, whatever, if you go there right now, you can find video footage, you can find pictures, images. I just don't know what I can post. But I will say, from what I've seen of the new Fantastic Four movie, it actually looks good. This is me, and again, I haven't seen the movie yet, so maybe I'm speaking way too soon. But female Silver Surfer aside, which I hate that decision. Female Silver Surfer aside, um, the Fantastic Four actually looks pretty good. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it'll surprise me. I'm hoping it does. I love the fact that it's a period piece taking place in the 60s, or alternative futuristic 1960s. From the video clips I've seen, they're really leaning into that, which is kind of cool. I've seen pictures of Galactus, and it's actually Galactus and not a smoke monster like in that other movie. Um, I don't know. I don't know. This one I'm a little bit more optimistic for, and I'm hoping that I hope they stick the landing. But again, we got to tie in that stupid Doctor Doom situation, right? Because you cannot have the Fantastic Four without Doctor Doom. There's no way. There's no way. I'm not saying he has to be the primary villain in the first movie at all, but when you're doing an MCU movie, a Fantastic Four MCU movie for the first time, Doom has to be in there somewhere. He has to be, right? So even if he's not the main threat, he needs to be there. But who knows? Again, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any footage as far as Doctor Doom goes. Even though I don't like the decision, I'm not going to I'm not going to put any more speculation on it until I see something. But I still say, even if RDJ knocks it out the park, I still say bringing Doctor Doom in this way for the first time is a mistake. So anyway, that's really all the Marvel news that came out of Comic-Con. They didn't talk about any of the TV shows, any of the Disney Plus stuff. They didn't talk about Agatha. They didn't talk about Ironheart. They didn't talk about Wonder Man, and I'm kind of surprised by that. And I think probably because they're waiting for D23, which is happening next week, or not next week. Yeah, I think next week. So I think they're waiting for that to make those announcements. But and to be honest with you guys, this is the first time Marvel has had a presence at Comic-Con, and it feels like a while. Like, it feels like a while since the MCU has had, like, a Hall H presence. And for those of you who've never been to Comic-Con, Hall H is where all the big studios give their big announcements. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let me get into some of these comments. All right, here we go. Hey, it's me. Hey, it's me. In nod or end. Wasted. Not sure what that means, but okay. Uh, okay, there we go. Hey, it's me and am I saying it right? In it? Anyway, any big DC news? No, actually, there was no DC presence at Comic Con this year, except for Superman and Lois, which I think is a CW show, but which I like. Actually, I do like the show quite a bit. But that's the only DC news I heard as far as film goes. There was nothing from James Gunn. There was no Superman announcements. There was no anything. There wasn't even a Sandman announcement, which I know they're working on season 2 right now for Netflix. So DC, Warner Brothers had no presence at Comic Con this year. All right, let's see. Davina, Duckworth. Comic conventions used to be about the fans. Yes, they did. A very long time ago, it was about the fans. Not so much anymore. Here's me and it. It's me in HD. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's me in HD. Sorry, man. I'm like, I'm reading it all as one word. So maybe I'm dyslexic too, like Alan Ing is. Let's see. Oh, we got a few more super chats. Look at that. Okay. From Sean Z for 4.99, man. And hey, Sean, what's up? I know you've been watching for a while, man. Great, really appreciate it. I couldn't go last year because I was sick, but I was planning on going next year. Also, Dante, it's good to have you back. Hope to see you there. Yeah, man. No matter what, I'm always going to be at Comic Con. So this year I did the 3-day thing. I didn't do the 5-day thing like I normally do, and probably for the best considering the vibe this year. So let's see. We have another one from Sean Z, 199. Let's Airbnb a place. That is actually what a lot of people are doing now. It's actually a smart idea to do it that way because you're going to spend a lot. You're going to spend a lot. All right, we have another super chat. Oliver Laveri Farag for 10 euros, I believe that is. How do you celebrate monetization? With some money, of course. I agree. Maybe you could use this to get a free tap water at Comic Con. Seriously. Although next year, it might not be enough. Oliver, you have no idea. You guys, it's funny. Chris Gore, he put together this. I don't know if it was a video. No, I'm sorry. It was an article on Film Threat on how to survive Comic Con, right? Or really any convention. And you guys should read it if you haven't, because it's very smart. It's basically, bring a backpack. Make sure you got like things to snack on throughout the day. That way you don't have to like spend $40 for 2 tacos, right? At the nearest restaurant or hotel. There's a lot of ways to get around. Like honestly, that's what I do. Like I might have like a small breakfast, like maybe like an egg sandwich from McDonald's or something, or I'll go to Ralph's and buy something. But I normally just have a backpack full of like things to snack on. I do that throughout the day. So I'm not hungry. And by the time, it's time to hang out with your friends and go have dinner, then you're only really paying for one meal a day. Again, $40 for 2 tacos probably, but at least, you're saving money by not constantly going out to eat. So you guys should read it. You should read it if you haven't read it yet. All right. And we got another one. Wow, you guys are so generous, man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate this. This is from Heinlein for $9.99. Recommend any of the cons. You know what? Okay, guys. So for me, San Diego Comic Con, I do love it. It was never really my favorite though. My favorite has always been E3 because I'm a gamer at heart, and for me, E3 was just a very cool thing. But since that's not happening anymore, um, it's really hard to say. I think most of the cons now are pretty corporatized as far as in the way that they function. LA Comic Con, honestly, is fun. In fact, for me, it's becoming a lot more fun than San Diego over the past couple of years. I know that WonderCon is good for people who cosplay, a lot of cosplayers, big cosplayer presence at WonderCon. Dragon Con is big, and Chris Gore goes to that all the time. I haven't been yet, but he swears by it. He says it's his favorite con. So if you get a chance to go to Dragon Con, which I think they hold it in Atlanta every year, you should probably make it out to that. And oops, Sean Z for 199. Love your cut, by the way. You talked about Falcon in your vid. Yeah, I just oh, and by the way, thanks for you know what, the haircut thing, man, I did it myself. I shaved it myself. I got tired of the fro. I got tired of trying to figure out a time to go see my barber, who was for some reason always busy. I got frustrated one night. I was also high as a kite off of gummies, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just shave this off myself, and here you go. Luckily, you know, and I'm not bragging. I just think I have the kind of head I could just shave it off and be fine. I know not everyone could do that, so I don't recognize. I mean, recognize. I don't. I don't advise that you shave your head off until you know you can wear a shaved cut, because otherwise, you know, you might end up looking like an alien or something. So, but anyway, yeah, that was. Oops, sorry. 1 second, guys. I hate fiddling around with this thing. There we go. So yeah, that's pretty much my Comic Con wrap up as far as the MCU goes. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of other things happening as far as big announcements that I care about. Right now, obviously, the Rings of Power had their big announcement, which I could give two shit. I could care less about. I am trying I guys, for me not to curse, you have no idea the landmine that I walk, right? Like, I really have to think about everything I say, because if I don't, like, really think about it, the F-bombs are gonna just drop, right? So and I'm trying to be good, especially for today, right? Um, Today of all days, I'm trying to just be good about, not letting it fly, but it's very hard. It's very hard for me not to curse. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of things, a lot as far as things I care about. I don't care about the Rings of Power. I don't care about the new Doctor Who, and there were other announcements made, but they were on the smaller end. I will say though, the panel that I got to sit in on, that, and it's honestly the panel I wanted more than anything, and luckily I got in, and not only got in, but got the perfect seats, was Mortal Kombat. I got to see the Mortal Kombat 1 panel, which was huge, by the way. Like, this thing took up like not three ballrooms, but three sections of a ballroom, which is pretty big, especially for a video game panel. And I got to hear Ed Boon talk about the new expansion coming to Mortal Kombat 1. If I haven't told you guys, I am a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I'm a big fighting game fan in general. I'm part of the fighting game community. Watch Evo every year, watch Combo Breaker every year. I am a hardcore fighting game guy. But um, Mortal Kombat for me stands above all, right? Like, it's Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur. Those are my favorite fighting games of all time. And Mortal Kombat 1 has gotten a lot of I don't want to say hate, a lot of criticism, right? And some of it, I would say even a lot of it is justified. They did change the gameplay a lot. There's certain things, there's certain characters that their move sets are kind of uninspired. But even with all that, and some people didn't like the storyline. I still defend Mortal Kombat 1. I think it's a great game. I think it's a great game. And so this panel was about the expansion that's coming to Mortal Kombat 1. and called Chaos Reigns, which focuses on the character Havoc. They showed a bunch of new characters that they're adding, including guest characters like Ghostface from Scream, the T-1000 from Terminator, and Conan the Barbarian, right? Which is so cool because you guys know in the last pack they had Homelander, Peacemaker, and Omni Man as guest characters. So the one thing Mortal Kombat always does right is the guest characters. Like they do a lot of fan service, and here's the cool thing is they're also known to get the voice actors or to get the actors to voice the characters, right? So in this one, they actually got Robert Patrick from the Terminator to play the T-1000 in the game. So I'm really excited about that. Can't wait to pre-order it and play it when it comes out in November. So that is actually one of the panels that I actually cared about. So yeah, anyway, that was Comic Con, and it was a good time. It was a good time. Not great, not as good as it's been in the past. Like I said, a lot of announcements have been made, and I don't know. I I kind of suspect that DC or Warner Brothers they're going to do their own thing again, like they have been doing. I think they've kind of given up on Comic Con, or it feels like they have when it comes to like major announcements. And I think Gunn is going to do a separate, and I forgot what they call it, but I know Warner Brothers Showcase. They have their own showcase, and I think they're going to do it that way. In the same way that the MCU, they didn't give us everything, and I think they're kind of sandbagging a little bit for for D23, and I think that's also when they're probably going to show some trailers like the Thunderbolt. They'll probably show the Thunderbolts trailer. They'll probably show something for Fantastic Four. So D23 is probably going to be where we get like the real information, basically. I don't know. Moving on though, we are not changing gears completely, but yeah, man, I got to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. I talked about it a little bit in one of my videos, and I wasn't able to give spoilers at the time because I saw it last Monday. Like I saw it before it came out. So I didn't want to give spoilers. I didn't want to ruin it for people. But hey, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen it by now, you're gonna get spoiled because this is spoiler. This is tons of spoilers. Okay. I stand by what I said. I've seen it twice already. I really like this movie. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. I think I didn't like the TVA stuff at all. But as far as the good time that I had in the theater, second to none. Second to none. I had a great time. And in fact, I think I had a better time the second time because I was able just to kind of sit back and take it all in. Where the first time I was just like kind of overwhelmed by everything that was going on, right? And you know, there's something to be said about chemistry, right? And I think Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, uh, their chemistry really sells this movie more so than any cameo or um, any nostalgia nostalgia berry. I think that their chemistry held this movie together for me. And just their interactions. And yeah, of course it was great to get Wolverine in his original costume, not original, but his one of his original costumes, because we all know the original is the brown and gold costume, which we got to look at in the video in the movie. In fact, I'm going to say one of my favorite parts of the movie was when Deadpool was recruiting Wolverine and seeing all the different versions of Wolverine. That was cool. That was extremely cool. The Henry Cavill reveal, the shorter Wolverine at the bar, which is the comic accurate Wolverine. All of that for me, it just I because it's funny. I've had every single one of those comics. I own every single one of those comics. You know, they had the Wolverine with him on the X cross, where he's on the cross or on the X like Jesus. I have that issue. All of that stuff for me, man, as like just a old comic book reader, like that was so cool to see. And of course the cameos, man. Come on, we got to talk about Blade. We got to talk about Channing Tatum, right? As Gambit. That for me, like I remember the first time I saw that, Like, I was like, "Okay." Like, they're doing some deep pulls, and I'm all here for it. I'm all here for it. Jennifer Gardner as Elektra, Chris Evans as the original Johnny Storm. And I said this on other shows, and I'm gonna say it again, but this literally for me felt like a Fox movie. It didn't feel like an MCU movie, right? Like, it didn't feel like, I mean, yeah, they showed some clips from the MCU in the movie, but this felt like a Fox film. And of course, one of my favorite things about the movie was actually the very end when the credits were rolling and they did the whole recap of all the years of the Fox movies, of the X-Men, of the Fantastic Four. Um, it was just kind of cool watching all of that. And of course, you know, they're playing Green Day's, Time of Your Life. So anytime you do like a recap with Time of Your Life, it's always going to hit a little bit, right? Because that song always brings out those emotions, right? The hey, you spent all this time with these people, right? And now we're bringing it to an end. And that's what this movie felt like. This felt like a close to the Fox universe. So, and believe me, I don't think the Fox movies were perfect. In fact, I would say most of the X-Men movies. Not hated, I would say, well, I hated the third one, but I disliked most of them because they felt too Bryan Singerish for me. My favorite X-Men movie is First Class. Like, and I'll debate that with anybody because that's the closest we came to a real X-Men movie than any of the things that Bryan Singer produced. And look, and I'll give him credit for Days of Future Past. I think that was a good movie. That was a very, very good movie from beginning to end, right? But I felt like those two movies were the best that we got. I wanted to like Apocalypse so bad, so bad. And I just feel like they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball in a lot of ways with that movie. And I'm not even going to get into the Dark Phoenix. That was just god awful. Except for the one scene where they show Dazzler, who I love so much, and I wish I can get her in an X-Men movie. So, but yeah, no, Deadpool and Wolverine for me it was just a good time at the theater. And to be honest with you guys, these days, that's all I really want. That's all I really want is a good movie that I can enjoy that doesn't have any kind of social message tied to it, doesn't have any politics tied to it. It's just a fun movie. You know what I mean? Although, since I'm going there, I think it's ironic that for all the quote unquote wokeness that goes on at Disney right now and all the girl power stuff and all the we need to race swap people and we need to make these characters gay for no reason. With all that stuff going on, I'm kind of surprised that actually I'm not surprised. I just think it's funny that a movie starring two straight white guys, well, questionably straight white guys, are saving the MCU right now. And to go a step further and I guess to not harp on it too much, but that's why they brought back Robert Downey Jr., right? Because they need that one white guy to save their whole franchise. So I thought that was kind of funny, to be honest with you. But seriously, I don't expect any more Deadpool movies, or at least not from Ryan Reynolds. I think Hugh Jackman is done. So if this was their coup de grace, then cool. If this is their big final show, okay. This was solid. This is a good way to end it. So, and the funny thing about all this, guys, I'm not even. I'm probably going to see it again sometime this week with other people because that's the thing. I always go with different people to watch movies, and I still have friends who haven't seen it, believe it or not, and it's just my excuse to watch it again. So, but it was good. It was a damn good movie, and bravo to Ryan Reynolds, man, for really caring so much about this character that he fought for it. Like we need more of that in Hollywood, man. We need people who are passionate and who are fans of the properties to do these projects, man. We need them. People who are willing to fight for things, man. That's the problem with Lucasfilm now is no one's fighting for them. No one's fighting for their vision. They're just and maybe they can't. Maybe they can under Kathleen Kennedy because she is a dictator and an awful human being. But it would be so cool to see someone who's passionate about Star Wars. You know what I'd like to see? And this is kind of funny. I'd like to see Star Wars Theory direct a Lucasfilm movie. Right? And if you guys don't know who Star Wars Theory is, he's literally the biggest Star Wars YouTuber ever. Ever. The guy has made tons of his own fan films out of his own money. Uh, the guy's knowledge of the extended universe, along with the universe proper, is second to none. I would like to see him do. I'd like Lucasfilm to hire him and let him do his thing because we need someone who's passionate about Star Wars at this point. I don't know. All right, let's get to these comments. Hey, it's me in HD. 7.5 for me. If they would have brought back Gina and TJ Miller, it would have been a 10. Um, I'm okay with them not bringing them back. Especially not Gina, just because her character. I mean, there's no point in bringing her character back. TJ Miller. Uh, what's funny is I really like that guy. I've heard a lot of somewhat bad things about him, not from woke people, but from like people who are creditable, like people I trust. Maybe he's changed, right? But I know for a while he was kind of poison. There was kind of like a, and some of you young people might not know this name, but he kind of had an Andy Dick vibe about him that kind of followed him around. So, and you're talking to a guy who loved Silicon Valley on HBO. Silicon Valley on HBO for me is, I think I've rewatched that show maybe 3 times. I think it's just a great show. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. And TJ is great in that show. But yeah, he's problematic. And I mean that in the right way. So anyway, let's see. Shanzi Wars. Spidey since 72. The DVD commentary for Deadpool and Wolverine will be insane. I completely agree with that. And in fact, now that you bring that up, um, guys, please support physical media. The more I've been hearing about what's going on with digital media, it's getting kind of harder to support it. It's getting pretty shady actually, because now they're trying to say that just because you buy something digitally doesn't mean you own it. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all because you know what? I have a lot of video games that I've downloaded straight into my PlayStation and Xbox. And what you're saying is the 60, 70, $100 I drop per game that I don't actually own that, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here, man. There's no way. So my thing is now, you know, I'm tempted to just only buy physical media at this point. And if you listen to R&B, Robert Meyer Burnett, he'll tell you the exact same thing. In fact, he hosts a show every Sunday about buying physical media. So anyway, Agent Bassy Boots or Bossy Boots, uh, collect source material. Hashtag collect source material. Yeah. All right, Davina Duckworth. I was watching old news radio episode. Oh man, deep pool. I found out about Andy Dick. It's really old news at this point. Yeah, Andy Dick, man. I've had. So here's the thing. I've been around for a while, okay, and I've had encounters with a lot of celebrities, just because of my line of work and the whole deal. I've run into Andy Dick a few times in Hollywood, and each time I've run into him and had conversations with him, they were not pleasant. He was coked up, I would say 80% of the time we've talked. He's not a he's not a good guy. He's very handsy with women he doesn't know very well. He's just there's certain people who you get a vibe from and not a good one. He's one of those guys. And again, who knows? Maybe in his old age now, he's become a better person. He's looked back and said, "Hey, yeah, I was a pretty awful guy. Maybe I need to change." I don't know. I just know that not a big fan of Andy Dick at all. All right, get to a few more comments here. Oh, super chat. Here we go. Caveat ties for 199. Hey from hey from the Film Thread fans. Congrats on the monetization. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys doing this. This is wild, man. Let's see. Oops, just read that one. Here we go. Sean Z for 499. Thanks again, Sean, man. I really appreciate this. Ryan Reynolds, being in the void with Hugh is basically him being in the void and Hollywood. Let's see if Sean Levy is actually going to do good. You think? I don't know. That's a really good question, man. I think that from what I've heard, Ryan Reynolds is done, done, like done, done. He's not doing Deadpool again. Now, that's not to say that Deadpool won't be back in the MCU. What they'll probably do is keep him masked and use another actor, and that actor will probably try to do his best Ryan Reynolds bit as Deadpool. But I think as far as any more solo Deadpool movies, I think this was it. And if you watch the movie, it does feel like a close, to be honest with you. Same thing with Jackman. Jackman's done, right? And he should be, man. Do you guys understand how old Hugh Jackman is? Like, he can't keep doing this. He just can't, man. And you know what? He's been our Wolverine for the past 25 years, right? He's been the only Wolverine for 25 years. He deserves to retire. And he deserves to be applauded for being down to play this character for all these years, right? So, I get it. But definitely for sure, I think Ryan Reynolds is out. All right, let me get to another. Sean Z again for 499. During the third fight with Deadpool's, I noticed that the scene was too long for the audience. They seemed reluctant to laugh. Uh, didn't feel like D1. Yes, I agree with that. In fact, that was probably my only real complaint of the film was that scene went on too long. Right, and I didn't have a lot of complaints. I didn't, I mean, obviously, like I said, it wasn't the perfect movie. I didn't care for the TVA stuff. Still enjoyed it, but that scene I felt like went on a little bit too long, and I felt like some of the jokes were a little repetitive, but not enough to take me out of the movie. So, all right, I think I got through all of these. Oh, Jim Watari, for $20, for not cursing, D. Thanks, man. Um, I gotta say, I'm a little shocked. And somewhat proud of myself because I'm catching it. I'm catching myself before I say something vulgar or let the profanity fly. I'm catching myself. So thank you for noticing. All right, let me close this out and get to my next topic, which is so I didn't get a chance to give my review of this season of The Boys. And since there was news of The Boys coming out of Comic-Con, it kind of seemed like the perfect time to do that. And I have a lot to say actually about The Boys. So for this, I'll start with the season. I didn't hate the season. I didn't hate it. I think there were some very clever things that happened this season. I like the introduction of Firecracker. I think she's a great, great character. I like the introduction of Sister Sage. I think she added something to the show. But and look, we all know The Boys by now. We know The Boys is a vulgar superhero show. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. The problem I have with this season, if I'm being honest, were a few things. Number one, I did not like at all how overtly political it was, and not even in a clever way. Like if it was done in a clever way, I'd say, hey, you know what, that's cool. Because you know what, I'm not a Democrat or Republican, right? I don't care about either party. So for me, it's like, hey, I don't mind political jokes from either side, right? But Kripke, the showrunner, he has TDS just as much as any other Hollywood bigwig, right? And what bugs me about this is, he got pissed last year or a few years ago when he found out that there were some people, I guess, on the right who really liked Homelander as a character. And in his mind, he's thinking, well, I want you to hate Homelander because Homelander is supposed to represent Donald Trump. First of all, we all know Homelander's a bad guy. Okay, there was no Homelander worship. Now, I could look at any villain for the most part, and I can understand their motivations, right? And there's villains who we love, right? Like, I mean, look at Heath Ledger's Dark Knight Joker. Okay, yeah, the Joker was crazy. He was violent. He was a bad guy. Could we understand some of the things he was saying? Absolutely, we could. Was he right about certain things? Yes. Doesn't mean we want to be that character. Doesn't mean we acknowledge that character as a good guy. Okay. We just can understand Thanos. Oh my God. I'm still looking for the Thanos was right t-shirt, right? Because he was right about a lot of things. A lot of things. The way he went about it, questionable, sure. Questionable. Snapping half of living beings out of reality in a universe was a little extreme. Not gonna lie to you. But do I understand, especially now in my old age? Yeah, I get it. I get it. Humans are the worst. But no, but you get what I'm saying. We can understand their motivations without saying we want to be those characters or that we want, that we think they're good guys. And I feel like with Eric Kripke is because he's such a diehard leftist that he took that as, well, I'm going to give them reasons to hate Homelander, right? And I'm going to make this all about them. And it's kind of like this big FU, which is appropriate for this picture, right? It's kind of like a big FU to the fans. I felt like I didn't like it at all. I feel like, you know in this in this in this arena of entertainment, people want escapism, right? They want to escape, right? The real world is already crazy on its own. It's already crazy, right? We want to escape into something else, and you can even do politics where it still feels like, or something political, and it still feels like an escape. This didn't. They were so heavy-handed. The whole January 6th thing, right? Um, the Fox News stuff, right? Like it was just everything was just so heavy-handed that it honestly it just took me out of it. It took me out of it. Now there were some good things that happened this season that I liked, but it really, I don't know. I know next season is their last season, so smart move by the way because I can't see this show going on much longer. But this season for me, I put it as their worst. I think this is their worst season. And I've liked every season of The Boys. I like season 1. I like the Stormfront thing on season 2. I like the Soldier Boy thing on Soldier 3 or season 3. I just didn't care for this season. And then there's the whole, taking a joke too far, right? Episode 6. Yeah, episode 6, the whole Tech Night episode where Huey is basically getting, sexually assaulted the whole time. And the whole thing with what was that Spider-Man stand-in? Web Weaver, the whole thing with him, and I get it. I know he's in the comic. Guys, when it comes to this comic stuff, I know. Okay, I know he's a character. I just felt like these jokes went on too long, and some of them were kind of inappropriate because in the same episode where you have Huey scattering his dad's ashes, right? After that emotional season 5 episode, with Simon Pegg, who literally for me gave one of the best performances I've seen out of him ever. That was Simon Pegg's some of his best work. So you have episode 6 where Huey is scattering the ashes, of his father, and in that same season, you have him getting pegged and, all these other weird things. He didn't get pegged, but I can't even say what they really did. Okay? That's how bad it is. I just felt like it's a little much. It's a little much. You know what I mean? Like it's not fun. You know, the thing with the deep and the octopus, yeah, I know that was played for gags, but even that scene where he lets her, I don't want to spoil it, but that scene between him and the octopus, it it, it was a little rough to watch for me, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think the boys is smart to wrap up the next season and just be done. So the other thing though that came out of that was Gen V. If you guys haven't watched Gen V, season 2 is coming next year, I believe. And if you guys haven't seen Gen V, that was a damn good show. That was a great spinoff, and it does tie sort of directly into the boys. In fact, next season is going to, because I believe Chase Crawford, who plays the Deep, is going to be like a regular in Gen V season 2. So that could be really interesting. Like I said, I really love the first season. I hope they stick the landing on it. The other big news that came from the boys was this. So Soldier Boy from season 3 is getting a spin-off series. He's getting his own series with Stormfront from season 2. I think the story takes place in the 50s, so it's a prequel to the boys, and that could be kind of cool. That could be kind of interesting, man, to see like the superheroes of the 50s and kind of play into that era of things. Jensen Ackles is just always fun to watch. I think he's probably one of my favorite actors. And yeah, I can't remember the actress's name who plays Stormfront, but she did a really good job. So it's going to be interesting uh watching their chemistry together. And I'm not sure when that show's coming out. I don't even really started filming yet, to be honest with you. But that's going to be the next spinoff of the boys. So I don't know. Hopefully it's good. Uh I've enjoyed the boys so far, even though I've hated this season. I overall the show has been solid. So maybe they could stick the landing in the next season. Okay, get to a few more chats. All right, we got another super chat from Gatekeeper for $10. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I didn't see a Streamlabs link. You stood out to me, having the loudest mic on all the shows you were on compared to everybody else. Honestly, haven't followed, although I subscribed to you a while back. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, so again, guys, I'm very new to this YouTube thing. I haven't been doing it nearly as long as some of these other cats, like Nerdrotic and all these guys. They've been doing it for like, I don't know, 10 years now. So I'm still learning, and in that learning, the thing I'm still trying to figure out is sound, right? Like I have a whole soundboard. I'm constantly playing with it. I'm trying to get the right mic levels. So maybe one day I will. All right, we got another super chat here. This is from Trailer Trash. 190 for 199. Dante for life. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. You guys have been great, man. Let's see, get to a few more. Sean Z, didn't Chase Crawford do Gossip Girl with Blake Lively? Yes, he did. Uh, he has developed into such a better actor, man. Because in Gossip Girl, he was not he. It was like watching paint dry. He was not a great actor, but seeing him play the deep and where he's going with that character, um, it's pretty good. He's grown a lot as an actor. Uh, the three, uh, hey, it's me me in HD. All right. Let's see, get to a few more. Hey, it's me in HD. Chase Crawford acting was excellent. Yeah. I guys, I like I said, he was not the best actor. So I'm always impressed when an actor can finally like grow into their skin. You know what I mean? When when you can see them actually go from mediocre to good. I've seen that with Crawford. I've seen that with a few actors actually, but him in particular, I've seen a lot of growth out of him. So I hope to see him in more things. To be honest with you. All right, another chat. This is from Jeff Biscamp. Dante, your thoughts on the future of the MCU and DCU? Thanks. Um, yeah, Jeff. So my thoughts really at this point are, I think Marvel, I think the MCU is they're in a weird place. Because they have some good things coming, and then they have some things that are coming that have been on par with the last 5 years. If you get what I'm saying. So believe it or not, I've heard good things about Agatha all along. Again, from my source there, and I trust him a lot. He says it's good, and I like the actress. I like the fact that it's coming out around Halloween time, which is the perfect time for that kind of show. So who knows? Maybe Agatha will be a win for them. I know that they're trying to shelf Ironheart, but they can't. So whether we like it or not, we're going to get Ironheart. I I say the MCU right now for me is a question mark. It's a big, big question mark. As far as DCU goes, that's an even bigger question mark because James Gunn, all the pressure is on him now, right? Like we've all said that DC sucks. We all said that DCU wasn't great. Not everybody I know, but a lot of people. And James Gunn was like, "Hey, I can change this. I can fix this." The problem is though, if he can't deliver, Warner Brothers has invested so much into him that it, he's already gray. But he's probably going to go even grayer by the end of all this, right? Again, haven't seen anything. I wish they would have brought at least a clip of the new Superman to Comic Con, but they didn't do that. So um, I guess I'll find out when everyone else does. Let's look at a few more. The three I didn't finish. Uh, Hayes B in HD. Doctor Dante, I love Hellboy. Do you think the new low budget movie puts a nail in the coffin uh, on live action for the foreseeable future? Sorry guys, when I've been talking for a while, all of a sudden my mouth just becomes dry. And anyway, Hellboy, Hellboy. Oh man, Hellboy is a hard property to get right. You know what I mean? I liked the first Hellboy movie. It wasn't great, but I liked it. I thought the second movie was okay, but I feel like unless you go pure horror with Hellboy, it's probably not going to work. I will say this new Hellboy looks like they're trying to do that. That they're trying to go straight horror, right? You know what I'd love to see, to be honest with you? You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Sam Raimi do a Hellboy movie, right? Because I don't think he did the first two, unless I'm completely tripping. Um, But yeah, I would like to see Sam Raimi do Hellboy because I feel like he can at least get it right. Whereas a lot of directors who try to make Hellboy an action movie, that's where you fail. So to answer the question, when it comes to this new Hellboy, it looks horror to me. It could work. I think the guy playing Hellboy, we'll see. I've only seen one trailer for it, but Hellboy's a hard one to get right, man. It's as a filmmaker, I would never want to attempt it. Ing the Merciless. Did you get my super hat? Is that what you said, Alan? Oh man, Alan Ing, everybody from Film Thread. I'm looking, Alan, because I think you meant super chat, but nope, that wasn't it. Dude, I am not. If you sent one, Alan, I am not seeing it, man. And I hope you're not just screwing with me, dude. Anyway, I'm going to keep looking for it. Spidey sent 72 for $10. Thank you so much, Spidey. Uh, for your first, you get the monetization, then you get the power, then you get the women. Congrats, Dante. I understand that reference. That's funny. Guys, it's a rap song. So okay, I'm still looking for Alan's super chat. And if he didn't send one and he's just messing with me, then I'm going to be really pissed. uh Caviest Caviest ties for 199. Hey, from the Film Thread fans, congrats on the monetization. I might have read that one already. But again, thank you for sending that. Yeah, I think I got through all of these. So Alan, I think you might be messing with me because otherwise either I'm blind or I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Anyway, sorry guys. I think I was being trolled by Mr. Ing. I'll get you back for that, Alan. Hannibal Grimm. All see, I can't say that word, man. I want to. I can't say that word. Jeff Biscamp. Dr. Dante, I agree with you 100%. Your thoughts on the new Superman suit? Too baggy? Yeah, I did a whole video on that. I'm not a fan of the new Superman outfit. I look, it always looks different on screen, right? So I don't want to make any big proclamations about the suit right now because we've only seen behind the scenes, and as we all know, the costumes behind the scenes all look kind of weird and campy and kind of goofy. So until I see it on screen, I'm not going to make my final decision. I'm just going to say what I've seen so far, though. Um, I'm not loving the design, so I'm hoping they can pull it off. uh, anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I'm just wrapping it up here, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring you, man, what happened at Comic Con last week, and again, thank you guys all, man, for the super chats. Like I said, this has been a very long journey getting to this point, and it's just been really cool to have all the support that you guys have shown me. I'm going to have, like I said, a bigger party next week when I'll have guests on, and it's going to be fun just talking about YouTube and all the things that we've learned over all the years of doing this. But yeah, I greatly appreciate all you guys. You know, like I said, you could be watching anybody right now, especially at this time of the day. Tons of other content out there. So just for you guys to come here and listen to this old guy rant and rave about geeky things is always kind of cool. You know what I mean? And greatly appreciate you guys. If you haven't subbed to the channel yet, for those who are watching, those who haven't subbed, please sub to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. You can also follow me on Rumble and on X. I'll warn you now, on X, I'm a little bit more controversial. A little bit more controversial, a little bit more uh unfiltered, if you will. So just if you're if you're the kind who clutches pearls, you probably shouldn't follow me on X. But no, I really do appreciate all you guys so much. I thank you for watching, and I'll be back here next week. So maybe same time. I'm trying to figure out what's a good time for everybody to do the show. But yeah, anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week.